Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Office of Health Promotion and Education's Peer Education Information Session. We're going to spend some time today overviewing the various programs that our office offers in a peer education framework outline program, and also get to hear directly from some current peer educators about their experience in the programs, what challenges and benefits come out of them, and in the hopes of supporting anybody watching this recording, giving y'all some more information as you consider potentially applying to some of our peer education programs. So welcome. My name is Sam Weaver. I use she, her pronouns. I am the sexual health coordinator, which means that I oversee the sexual health peer education program at the Office of Health Promotion and Education. I'm here with my colleague, Danielle. Danielle, do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle Snow. I use they, them pronouns, and I am the Sexual Assault Prevention Education Coordinator. So I oversee FIRE, Sexual Assault Peer Educators, and Fireplace Resource and Support Center, FIRE standing for Fighting Ignorance and Rape Through Education.
Thanks, Danielle. And in just a few minutes, we will introduce our amazing peer educators who are here today to talk about their experience. But first, Danielle and I want to tell you a little bit more about our office and these programs in particular. And Danielle will start us off.
Yes, so our programs are housed under the Office of Health Promotion and Education. Our office is comprised of a team of health educators who work to promote well-being, responsible behavior, and healthy environments. We address the critical health and social justice needs of the university community. So basically, our programs are really centered on a mixture of health and wellness, and really getting students to figure out what that means for themselves. We can go to the next slide. So in our office, we have some different definitions for well-being, or different components really for well-being. So well-being to us is making lifelong healthy choices. So what we mean here is not necessarily a standardized definition of healthy choices, but rather recognizing that health and healthy means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And really our hope is that we can encourage and educate students so that they can make informed decisions about making these lifelong healthy choices. Additionally, well-being is learning and applying skills to meet one's own physical, social, spiritual, intellectual, occupational, financial, emotional, and environmental needs. So we do this through a variety of different ways, whether it be by having students join our teams and learn these skills in team meetings, in trainings, things like that, or through other programs in our office, like our workshops, our presentations, and our events, where we teach the campus community at large about these skills and how to really cater them or modify them to apply to our own lives. And then well-being is also demonstrating resilient behavior, including the ability to become strong, healthy, or successful when faced with obstacles and challenging situations. It also includes the ability to adapt and be flexible when responding to change. And we view this as being able to happen when we have information. It feels a little bit, maybe easier isn't the best word, but I'm going to use easier, to be flexible, to be adaptable when we know we have options, when we know, when we have education to make informed decisions. Before we go into the peer education programs, I do just want to say that while we have these awesome programs and do a lot of things through them, our office does also have a couple other programs that I'm just going to real quick highlight. These include our mental health outreach programming. So this is where we try to educate the campus on mental health, mental well-being, and how to take care of ourselves in that kind of vein or that area. We also have our alcohol risk reduction program. So alcohol and other drug risk reduction program. So in this program, we have our coordinator who will educate our campus on substance use, how substances impact our bodies, and how we can still make healthy or safer choices even amid potential substance use. We also have our bystander intervention program. We call this HEROES. So this program is more of a training than anything else. And it allows folks to understand ways that they can intervene in potentially harmful situations, how to stop the harm from happening moving forward, and really how to be that active bystander. Those are kind of some of our other programs that we have. I think now we're ready though to jump into our peer education programs.
Thanks so much, Danielle. Yeah, so we currently have 2 active peer education programs in our office. The first one being FIRE Sexual Assault Peer Education, which Danielle oversees. The FIRE program is committed to educating students and the WMU community about sexual assault prevention and response. And FIRE's vision is to create a campus culture that actively and effectively responds to sexual assault to eradicate it from the WMU community and ultimately society at large. And FIRE provides support and resources for survivors and their friends and families. And peer educators are a major component of making this program happen, providing this education on campus, as well as support services. And then we have the Sexperts Peer Education Program, which is the program that I oversee. It's also called the Sexual Health Peer Education Program. And we facilitate interactive presentations and campus initiatives all about sexual health and well-being. So we provide information and skills needed to empower students to make healthier choices about sex, intimacy, and relationships. And that can be a really broad range of topics that are related to sexual health and wellness. And I think is such a critical part of our campus education programming. We also offer some other services outside of educational programming and events, one of which being our Safer Sex Supplies delivery service, which is a really awesome service that students who live on Western's campus can utilize to order safer sex supplies, including condoms, lubricant, and dental dams, to their campus mailbox in discreet packaging. And we have a bunch of packages that folks can order. Each package is only $5 and is charged discreetly to your student account. So that's one of the cool things that our peer educators support in the sexual health program as well. So what we're going to do now is transition into hearing from our amazing peer educators who are on the call with us. And as we make that transition, I just want to note the contact information on the screen in front of you. This is how you can contact Danielle or I about programs and services, or about any questions you have about becoming a peer educator as well. And I'll come back to this slide at the end of this session. But now we are going to hear from our awesome panel, and we're going to start by just asking our peer educators to introduce themselves. So please tell us your name, your pronouns, and what program you're in. Also, maybe how long you've been a part of the program would be helpful information. And can we start with Katie?
Hi everyone, my name is Katie Roman. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm in the Sexperts Peer Education Program. And this is actually my first semester as a peer educator, and I love it.
Thank you so much, Katie. Haley, will you go next?
Hi, my name is Haley Rude. I use she, her pronouns. I am a FIRE peer educator, and this is my fourth semester.
Awesome. Thank you, Haley. And last we have Bella.
Hello, I'm Bella. My pronouns are she, her. I'm in Sexperts, and this is my third year being in Sexperts, so I guess 6 semesters.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm excited to hear your various perspectives, especially having been in the program for different durations of time. And what this next bit is going to look like is I have a couple of questions I want to ask and hear from everybody in response. And we're also going to hear from Danielle in response, who will be reading responses from a student who's a peer educator and just didn't want to be recorded today. So we'll still get their perspective, which is awesome, and we will hear that from Danielle. But the first question that I really would like to hear from you all about is, why did you decide to join your peer education group in the first place? And maybe we can start with Bella. We can go backwards this time.
I decided to be in Sexperts because I've always just been really like interested in sexual health. So it was just already like one of my interests, I guess. I joined my first semester of college, which was, I don't know, I thought it would be helpful just to like meet people and like make friends. And I also just like wanted something to do that was outside of my major, just for something different. So yeah.
Thanks, Bella. Let's hear from Haley and then Katie after that.
So I was a transfer student to WMU and I was wanting ways to be involved on campus. And I happened to actually be scrolling through like the Experience WMU, like looking at clubs and stuff, like, okay, what interests me? And I found fire, and it's actually, for personal reasons, like it's special to me, and like something I was like, this is definitely something I want to be involved in and I want to help make a difference with.
And then I joined Sexperts because I am currently in my Master's of Public Health program at Western, and I have the goal of being a sexual health educator in the future as a career. So I thought this would be an awesome stepping stone to gain some experience and learn some skills that would help me in the future.
Awesome, thank you so much. And now we'll hear from Danielle, who's reading another peer educator's response.
Yes, and their response for joining peer education was, or rather is, I joined the peer education group because I had to complete a certain number of volunteer hours for their nursing classes this semester, and I wanted to do something I am passionate about.
Awesome, thank you all. I love how different everyone's answers were. I think that's really indicative of the various goals that our programs can achieve. The next question I have for y'all is, in your experience so far as peer educators, what's an example of an exciting part of that experience? What's been something particularly exciting in this program for y'all? And anyone can start. Is anyone feeling excited to answer this question?
I'll start. Something that's been exciting for me since I'm in the Grand Rapids area, I've had to join virtually. I have had an amazing time with the guest presentations that we've had. There are so many opportunities to learn just beyond the sexual education standpoint. We've had presentations on, so many different topics that it's just been so overall encompassing that it's been awesome to be a part of.
Thanks so much, Katie. Yeah, we've really been working this semester in particular to build some partnerships with on-campus and off-campus community organizations, and be the people who are receiving education in order to support our educational programming. So that's awesome. Bella or Haley?
I I think just like a broad exciting thing for me is just like doing things like tabling events and just a lot of presentations. I feel like those things have really helped me like be less like shy and a lot more comfortable with public speaking and just like delivering information to people, because I know that like I have the right information. And so it's just been exciting to like see myself grow like over the course of being in the program, and just like, yeah, just seeing that.
Awesome. Thank you, Bella. Haley?
So I'm someone who, like I just describe myself as I like to learn regardless, like about a wide variety of topics. And there's, this is my fourth semester and there's still constantly new things to learn, new knowledge to gain. And that's something I'm really exciting, whether it be like from events we hold or just our own topics that Danielle presents to us and gives us information on. I'm just always happy to like have this new knowledge to share.
Beautiful. Thank you, Haley. And Danielle.
Yes. So our anonymous student said, I think the most exciting part of this experience so far has been getting to know other volunteers in the group. It has made me realize that none of us are truly alone in our experiences and that there's always someone to reach out to that will give you space to decompress and support you.
Wow, what an amazing answer. And I wholeheartedly agree. The peer education community that we build is such a joyful part of this experience. Awesome, thank you all. We have a few more questions left. The next one I have for everyone is, what was a challenge you have faced while in your peer education program, and how did you overcome it? So what was a challenge and how did you overcome it? And I wonder if Haley, you'd be willing to start this time.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a challenge, but there's constant growth with public speaking. Like I had some experience, but I definitely think continuing to be a peer educator, continuing to present on our fire presentation has given me a lot of growth in my public speaking abilities.
Absolutely. Thanks, Haley. And I think in my experience, there's not one student who comes into the program and is like, I'm never nervous when I do public speaking. Like, it's definitely a thing that we, myself included, we all have practice and growth we can do to be even better at it. So I definitely resonate with that, Haley. Bella, would you go next?
Yeah, mine is kind of similar. I guess one challenge, it doesn't happen often, but sometimes we do get like pushback during presentations just on like the information that we give out, which I don't know, it doesn't happen too often, but when it first happened, when I was new in the program, it was definitely scary and I didn't really know like what to do or like how to navigate that. But just like as you go on being in the program and you just learn more, you get more practice about like responding to that type of thing and just how to like move on in a way that's productive and not distracting from the presentation or like what you're talking about. So it's definitely, I'm a lot more comfortable with that now than when I was newer.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Bella. And, you are not alone in that. I think that's something that Danielle and I work really hard to consider and prepare peer educators for in the programs. And one of the ways that I try to really concretely support students in the case of pushback is no one is ever presenting by themselves. So we always send at least 2 presenters, and that way, if one person is like not really sure how to move forward, there's someone else to back them up always. So yeah, thank you so much, Bella. Katie.
Something I consider a kind of a good challenge is being in Sexperts has helped me to challenge myself and make sure that I'm using, appropriate language, affirming language, and being as inclusive as possible. And I think, being a part of this group has really brought that forward more than it was before. And I'm really appreciative of that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Katie. The language that we use is so important for shaping all of the experiences that we're in and in shaping the type of education that we're providing to folks. So I know that Danielle and I both really take language justice really seriously and try to pass as much information as possible to our peer educators. Thank you all. And lastly, we'll hear from Danielle.
Yes, so our student wrote, the only challenge that has come up for me in this program is the sensitive content we discuss. The more information I learned, the more validated I felt that my experience with sexual assault was harmful and violent. But with that realization also comes the hurt that what happened was real and harmful and violent. This is where having people and resources to turn to for support is so important. And knowing that I can talk to anyone in the group about how I'm feeling is really comforting when learning and talking about difficult topics.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for reading that for us, Danielle. And definitely like an important part of the programs to think about. How the content might impact you as peer educator, and however it impacts you is absolutely okay. Like, and Danielle and I are here to support folks in whatever that looks like. Yeah, no more words for that, but thank you so much. All right, just 2 more questions for the group here. The next one is, what skills have you either gained or enhanced while in your peer education program? And maybe we can start with Katie this time.
For starters, I would say general communication skills. I know in Sexperts, we have a lot of practice sessions that involve things like, practicing introductions. And those have been really helpful because it'll make me reflect on how I was doing that before and, find areas for growth.
Awesome, thank you, Katie. Haley?
First and foremost, public speaking is such a big thing to progress, but also just the way I choose to think and process of how I'm interacting with others, choice of language when interacting, not even like a personal setting of being mindful of that language and what I'm using and how I'm saying and how that's going to affect others.
That's awesome. Thank you, Haley. Bella?
Mine is definitely really similar to those. Public speaking definitely is a big one. And also just being very conscious, with my language, Haley and Katie both said. I think also learning how to call or write emails to reach out to different offices on campus and ask about can we advertise here, plan an event here? I think that's really useful because I didn't really have any experience with that type of thing before this. And so it was really a unique skill that I got to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for sharing. I have some reflection, but I want to hear from our other student first.
I love how language has been brought up so much. This student also is speaking to the language skill development. So they said, I feel much more confident in talking with other survivors and knowing what to say and how to comfort them. I've also learned a lot about rape culture and how things that you might not think of as harmful actually are. FIRE has also expanded my knowledge of what language is most sensitive and correct to use inside of and outside of these discussions.
Beautiful, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. This theme of language justice and inclusion overarching, which I think I am hopeful is indicative of our values as an office of promoting social justice and equity. And also it feels hand in hand with public speaking skills, right? Which I hear some folks naming as well. It's not just how we're presenting things, but it's the words that we're using to do that. So I definitely see the peer educators coming through this program, building those skills and such incredible transformation from the beginning to the end of a semester. And I also love what Bella lifted up about programming experience, especially if you're thinking about what to put on your resume under peer education. You're not just doing workshops, you're also organizing workshops and figuring out how best to reach a campus community and spread messaging and information. really valuable skills.
Yeah,
Awesome.
if it's okay, I'd love to add a little bit to that too. Because so much of our work is presentations, is workshops, all of that. Students, I think, often feel like, how do I communicate all that went into it, right? Like, I just did a presentation. No, that's not all that you did, right? So Sam uplifted so much of it, of the organizational piece. And I often tell students to say, you researched, you developed, and you facilitated that presentation. You didn't just go up and one day present it. You had to put in work in order to be able to facilitate it, in order to do that public speaking. So it's more than just the actual delivery of program. It's all of the work that goes into it as well. And I think it should be highlighted on resumes and interview settings, even just like talking with friends.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much for elaborating on that. And that's one of the things we try to tell students as they're considering applying for the program, right? Is like how this will support you in your professional development goals. You get to put peer educator on your resume. You get to put, if you complete our certification process, that you're a certified peer educator nationally, plus all of these skills that Danielle was just lifting up. So we hope that's incentive too, to be a part of the program. Thank you all so much for these enlightening answers. If anything, I just feel really excited about what we accomplished together in these programs. And we just want to leave today with kind of an open question, focusing on students who might be considering applying to our programs. Being where you are now in the program, is there anything that you wish you had known sooner about peer education programs that you know now, that you wish like, oh, that would have been so helpful to know during my application process, or when I was deciding whether or not I was even going to apply? So that's the last question. And I will call names again, but if you don't have anything, that's also okay. But let's start with Bella this time.
I guess one thing is maybe because I was going to join the program anyway, just because I'm interested in it. But I think it would have been nice to also know, like you both were talking about, just the things that like you really get out of being in the program. Like you get to put this on your resume, and like you can be a nationally certified peer educator, and just stuff like that is like really cool to be able to tell like job interviewers or stuff like that, because it's really more than just like, oh, I go to the meeting once a week and we give presentations. Like you're actually like learning like really valuable skills that like you'll be able to use in the future and put on resumes. So it's, I don't know, it's more than just like an extracurricular thing, I guess.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bella. Katie.
Something I wish I would have known earlier would be that I'd be learning a lot more than just sex education. There are so many different aspects of sexperts that don't even do with sex education that are so valuable to so many people.
Yeah, thank you, Katie. Yeah, I really have been trying to like expand our educational input. One of the cool presentations that we received this year was from Disability Network of Southwest Michigan, and really learning more about ableism and how to be anti-ableist in our work and be inclusive of folks with disabilities as we talk about sex and sexual health. And yeah, it might be like a thing where you're like, why did Sam schedule this presentation that's not about sexual health? But it's such a critical connection to the work that we do and to the broader mission of the office as a whole, to serve all students at Western. Thanks for that. And Haley.
So being that I joined like my first semester at Western, there was no time that I've been at Western that I haven't been in fire. But I think, at least for me, anytime you join any new environment, any new group, there is a nerve-wracking of like, you're going into something and there's going to be people that already know each other. There's going to be some sort of relationship formed already, but something to just, it's so inclusive. There's so many people from so many different backgrounds. And even if you don't think, oh, this isn't related to my major, this isn't what I want to do, doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. This has nothing to do with my future career goals, my future plans. Doesn't mean I don't enjoy it, doesn't mean I haven't learned a ton. You don't need to have this be your goal to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That feels like a really important piece, Haley. And we'll wrap up with our last anonymous student.
Yes, so they said, I wish I knew how rewarding it was and how much this group provides a sense of community and connection.
Wow, what an uplifting ending. um, oh, thank you so much to that anonymous student and to the three of you for being here today and sharing a little bit about your experience. So grateful, not just for this time, but the work that you all have put in this semester and all the semesters before that you have been involved. Again, our programming is not possible without the support of peer educators. So just like deep gratitude from our team to you. And before I go ahead and end this recording, I'm going to share again our contact information on the screen. So this is how you can reach Danielle or I if you have questions about our programs or anything else at all. And then lastly, I'm going to just share a visual with a QR code for how you can apply to become a peer educator. We are currently accepting applications for fall of 2022. And if you're interested, this is how you can access the application. I would say it's a pretty mild application process, just a few questions to answer, and then you get to meet with Danielle or I. But yeah, we really encourage y'all to apply. We're always looking for more peer educators. Danielle, anything to say before we wrap up here?
I just want to thank anybody who is watching this recording for being interested in peer education. And I hope that this video did provide adequate context for the work that we do, the community that we build, and the skills that our peer educators are gaining. And just, yeah, if you have any questions, please always reach out to us. We want to talk to you.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, everybody.